Hello there, and welcome to the BSR Sports Podcast from the fans, for the fans. Today, guess who I'm joined by? You wouldn't know. It's the one and only Liam Murphy, Blair McFarlane, and Robbie Hanratty. How are we, boys?
Good, Blair.
Good, glad to be here.
Thanks. Oh, I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a good one, isn't it?
Yep.
It's going to be a good one, but we're going to start off on not the best of notes. I would like to send our commiserations to Jurgen Klopp and the rest of his family in these tough times. There has been a lot of criticism for the man, and news came out. Well, today news came out that his mother is just passed away, and he won't be able to go over to Germany and go to the funeral. Horrible news, and honestly, we wish all the best to Jurgen Klopp. Horrible times, isn't it, Liam?
Absolutely, yeah. And you can see now from his recent press conferences that he's under a lot of stress, and that probably is due to the terrible situation he's had to go through. And there was one video I saw released today when I think it was when we scored against Spurs, and the first goal, he just looked up to the sky and he just went, yeah, because he is a devout Christian, Jurgen Klopp. He said that himself, and it does bring a tear to your eye, and it's really sad. And like I wish I only put my commiserations out to him and his family.
Yeah, there was a lot of criticism with him in a recent interview for journalists. A lot of criticism on social media, but nobody knew. I personally didn't say anything about it. I think we all had our judgments on the way they treat the journalist, and maybe some things were said in a character that shouldn't have been. But with the reasoning now that's come out, it's totally explainable. So honestly, we wish Jurgen Klopp all the best, and we wish Liverpool all the best in future times, because it's not an easy thing to go through and to stay quiet about it for so long. Jurgen Klopp's mother, apparently she's been out since the 19th of January. She was out since the 19th of January. So horrible times for him. But we all know the happy, smiley Jurgen Klopp, and hopefully there is the help there to get him through it, and Liverpool will be back to their best soon enough. Hope so, don't we, Liam? Staying on a sad note, Liverpool v Man City. That was an absolute bollocking 4-1 Man City. Liam, do you want to just talk us through it? I would not be happy if I was a diehard Liverpool fan.
Absolutely,
definitely wouldn't be.
No one can be happy. But I've got 2 words to describe that game for you: Phil Foden. He just like he made Anfield just look like his own training ground, his back garden. Like I never like fully rated Phil Foden before, because I've never like properly watched him before. But that game just shows like what a great talent he is. And I don't want to talk about the goal was magnificent, but the dribble he made, I think it was the third or second goal, and then he squared it for Gundogan.
That was the third goal.
Aye. And then it was just the way he slithered through everyone. It was really good, really nice. And like, but Liverpool as a whole, I mean, what else can you say? Like, even when it went to 1-1, I wasn't confident we'd get anything from the game. We didn't play great, and Man City battered us. It's as simple as that. And I thought when Gundogan missed the penalty in the first half, I thought there might be a slither of hope here for us. And when they went 1-0, I thought, oh God.
We'll start off. So we'll start off with the main talking points. Obviously, you've just said it right there, the penalty. Look, you watched the game, didn't you? Did you see the penalty?
Is this the first one, the Gundogan one?
The penalty, it was very reminiscent of Mahrez, and it was at the same end as well. It's just, it's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 penalties in 2 massive games, and both of them have just been absolutely blotted over the bar.
With Ilkay Gundogan, he's one of the last players you'd expect to do that as well. Obviously, totally redeemed himself in this game, but the form he's in this season, maybe one of the best midfielders in the league on form. And
at the moment, sorry to say it, but he's miles ahead of anybody else midfield wise. Kevin De Bruyne, obviously we spoke about him. Bruno Fernandes, he's more of Bruno's a different type of player, if you know what I mean. But the role that Gundogan's playing is very similar to the likes of Thiago, for instance. Even though Thiago's non-existent, Liam. What I would say is Ilkay Gundogan has been an outstanding asset for Man City this season, and he's just turned into an absolute Trojan of a midfielder. He is up there with Bruno for form at the moment. You would have to say, wouldn't you?
One of the it sounds a bit dramatic to say one of the shocks of the season, because we obviously all know how good a player he is. But you see, when the likes of David Silva left City at the end of last year, I think a lot of people were sort of thinking it would be Phil Foden just taking his role when you're going to have De Bruyne and Phil Foden. And sure enough, Foden has come in and he was unbelievable the other day as well. But with De Bruyne not being fit at times and not in the form he usually is, Gundogan just seems to have taken that by both hands and totally making the most of the opportunity that he's got. And talking about the penalty, like I said, I just wouldn't expect that from him, but obviously more than redeemed himself with the 2 goals he got.
Yeah, Liam, penalty over the bar. You must have been over the moon jumping about your living room. Am I right?
Well, first of all, when the penalty was given, that was just a sign of things to come. The way Sterling was just like dribbling past Trent, and the way he managed to just skin Fabinho as well. Obviously, Fabinho gave away the penalty with the trailing leg. I had hope when he missed the penalty. I wouldn't say that I was jumping about screaming. I had hope more than everything, because genuinely I came into this game with little hope that Liverpool would get in from the game. And when we went into half-time 0-0, I thought, right, let's regroup. Let's see what we can do second half. And we went 1-0 down, still, like, it wasn't the worst way to go down. Like, it was a good save from Alisson. We'll get into Alisson shortly, but it was a good save from Alisson. And then obviously Gundogan pretty much had an easy tap in. But when Salah got his penalty, I know people will say Salah might have made the most of it, but it's the thing with footballers now, like, you're not going to get a penalty in the modern day unless you go down. There is contact, there's a clear tug on the shirt. The problem is it's probably not enough to go down, but it's still it is still a penalty.
I'm sorry, but
it's not a dive.
I'm going to need to disagree with you here, and I'm pretty sure both the other boys will say the same. It's not a penalty. It's definitely not a penalty. Salah does it time. It annoys me because I've grown up being a defender, and Salah just keeps doing it time and time again, and you wonder why referees started to get frustrated with him. I want to know the other boys' thoughts. Look, we'll start with you on the penalty. Salah's penalty.
Oh, I was surprised to hear me say this. I'm sympathetic with Liam, right? In the sense that I know, but what I will say is, if it's Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, Fernandes, any Man United player, I know Liam's going to be saying it's a dive, it's not a penalty. But I do get what he's saying about, like, when it's contact. And
is it contact? But
it is contact. You can see a clear tug on the shirt. That's what I'm trying to say.
You see, if it's influencing the play, right? If you're getting your shirt pulled and it's stopping you from getting the ball, or it's putting you at a disadvantage, then if you it might not be enough to make you go down. But if you stay in your feet, the referee isn't going to give the penalty, so you do kind of have to go down. So, like, the person I blame in these situations is really the officials and the referees, and they need to look at it. Maybe they should start saying to players, listen, you don't need to go down. If we see you get pulled, it's a foul. It'll be a foul in the middle of the park, and you don't need to go to the ground. So if it's in the box, we give it as a penalty. So I understand why players are doing it. We don't like to see it. We don't like this dramatic side of it when players are diving around, and everyone's guilty for it. Like, show me a big team in Europe who don't have players. Man U have plenty of players that I've talked about.
Man U are the best
of Mane and Salah. PSG have Neymar and Mbappe. Like, everyone's doing it, and I think
as you said, it's the officials. Sorry, as you said, it's officials to blame. It's officials.
We'd agree.
But Robbie, what's your thoughts on the penalty decision with Salah?
Well, mate, I'm a big, for being a Man United fan, I'm a big fan of Mo Salah over the years, and I think he's
big fan of penalties as well.
And he's been a brilliant player for Liverpool. But watching this penalty back, it's a clear dive, and he plays for it. He tries to put his hand out and then just goes down. It's never a penalty for me. And surely they have VAR for a reason, so I don't understand why.
What I think is, right, Liam, look, sorry, you spoke about this. You get the tug on the shot, right? Mm-hmm. Liam, you get beat 4-1 anyway. It doesn't matter. You get the tug on the shot, and then you've got the kind of, you could maybe like get a dive. It's the way the whole dramatic, the
I get that.
Up there, or the pure
If he doesn't do that,
I really don't like that.
Do that, I can't believe I'm defending him, right? But you see, if he doesn't fall over and be dramatic about it, the referee's just going to go that way. Nothing happened then, because the referee's not going to see it, and it's not even necessarily the referee's fault. It's just one of those things. But if he stays on his feet, he's not going to get a foul for it. But the player has pulled his shirt and he has stopped Salah getting to the ball. So that, by definition, is a foul. But
it's the way football's turned, really.
Sorry,
it's just the way modern football is. If you don't, I'm echoing what you have said already, but if you don't go down, you don't win it. So it's just encouraging, really, without referees changing the way they approach things. It's encouraging players in any league, any team to do the exact same.
Yeah.
And if they know they got to get away with it and win these penalties, and why they got to change it, I don't know.
I would say, and I think Salah's one of the best players in the world on his day, but I would say Salah's one of the best con artists in the world. The way he can manipulate a referee's mind, and Liam, you're probably growling at me when I'm saying this, but you need to be honest with yourself here. Salah is one of the people that he can easily manipulate a referee's mind because of the way he can do it. He's terrific at it, and I'm all for it. See if you've got a player that's part of your team and he's winning your penalties. By being able to do that, I would not be complaining one bit. So fair play to Salah, but I just, as a defender, I just don't like that at all. I've always had a hate for it. I feel it ruins football if I'm honest with you. But in such a big game, I don't blame him. I really don't blame him. Raheem Sterling coming back to bite you, Liam. Not the nicest thing to see, eh?
Definitely, eventually. He doesn't usually turn up against Liverpool at Anfield, but he did this time, obviously. But I think the main talking point to talk about now is to move on to our lovely, lovely Brazilian goalkeeper, Alisson Becker. Oh, man. See, I love the guy, right? He's a beautiful man, right? I love him, right? But every goalkeeper has their problems. Every goalkeeper makes mistakes, right? I don't think this is like a sign of things to come or anything. Like we saw recently that he was ill. So I don't know. I don't want to like make excuses or anything, but that maybe could have played a part as well. That he might have not actually been like fully healthy. But Liverpool knew that they need him for this game because obviously it is our biggest game of the season. And with his first mistake, that the first one annoys me more than the second one more often because like. He done it earlier on, like he'd done a wee flick, and that's where Jamie Carragher went off his nut, right? And then he went and done it again, and I literally just, I think I was messaging one of you in the group chat, and I was just like, he's just done it again. I know, and I was like,
it's the way you get away with it the first time with a kick, and then it comes back to him, and you're like, oh, sigh of relief.
See, I can't stand it. And then he just
does it again, and you're like. It's just not. You could tell it just wasn't his day, was it?
Alisson is like one of the biggest suspects of this, right? I hate when players like pass it back to the goalkeeper's taking like one or extra 2 touches. I just say like, see if you see a player even just sniffing the ball, you boot it as far into the rosette as you possibly can, right?
De Gea used to be so bad for that.
You can't say that though, because you see, if you tell someone like Alisson that he just needs to boot it away every time he gets the ball under a little bit of pressure, you'll have lost like a good few goals over the years. Like he is very
Alisson's
much
a passing
goalkeeper.
Sorry to put in here, but what I would say is, why did Liverpool buy Alisson, Liam? Do you think it was for the shot stopping, or do you think it was for his kicking accuracy?
I'm not saying
he's a passing goalkeeper, so
I'm not saying I don't
understand what Luke's trying to say here.
I don't want him to stop making the short passes like every time he's under pressure. But you see, like when you see like literally when the player's right in front. Yeah, it was the best example in the second goal when the player was right in front of him. Right. He had so much time to either play it to the right back or switch it out, play to the left, because his kicking is unbelievable at times. But yet he was just messing about tippy-tappy football, and then he had to do like a wee flick of the outside of his boot, which ultimately resulted in Man City winning the ball. He then got the ball again, so he thought he'll learn from his mistake, booted it straight to the Man City player, and then Phil Foden went on a wee daisy run and played it in for Gundogan.
Can I just give my opinion quickly on Alisson? I really think like that it's a big. You look at the big picture with Liverpool right now. I think it's kind of one of those things where the mistakes are almost contagious in the team. Like I don't think it's down to any one player.
No, I wouldn't.
We spoke obviously about like the lack of stability you have at centre back, and I think that's it. Like a lot of the field is quite shaky for Liverpool. And when you've got some inexperienced players or players you've just signed, like not very well established centre backs playing in front of them, then these things are going to happen. You're going to have a little lack of confidence. And as soon as he made one mistake, it was just like it was like he couldn't get over that. Like he'd done it again 2 or 3 times. And it's not because he's not a good goalkeeper. It's not because he doesn't know how to ping a good pass. I think like psychologically he seemed almost like he was struggling.
Liam, we talk about.
Swear to God, if you mentioned 2018, I swear to God.
We talk about making one mistake in a match, in such a big match as a goalkeeper for Liverpool. Does that give you flashbacks to Loris Karius?
That's probably one of the most heartbreaking moments in my life.
Champions League final.
Because the way we
It's
got
not
to
an
that final.
exciting scene for anybody, but it's going to happen. Goalkeepers, put it this way, a striker can miss as many opportunities as he wants. You've seen how many games Firmino's went without a goal before. You've seen Aguero go in stints without scoring, 15 games, 20 games, whatever. You've seen Salah, Mane, every player's done it. Even Messi and Ronaldo have done it for like 10, 15, but they end up scoring hat-tricks after that, so they make up for it. But what I'm trying to say is that a striker like Sterling misses an open goal, that gets forgotten about. Well, it doesn't really get forgotten about. A goalkeeper makes a mistake, that doesn't get forgotten about because the goalkeeper's the last line. So it's a difference in pressure that different players have got. And in such a big game, I feel Alisson's mentally just crumbled.
Yeah, you easily could say that, yeah, because like a lot of the players that day mentally crumbled. Like I saw Robertson was having an absolute, like it got on the radar, but Robertson had an absolute stinker. So he did. I think it was for the fourth goal where Phil Foden put it in top corner. Again, we could say maybe Alisson could have saved that as well, but it is a bit of a powerful shot. I'll let him off with that, right?
Nah.
But Robertson looked like he was like turning, like he was struggling. You could see, and he got subbed off like literally after the fourth goal. And yeah, it was just all round poor from Liverpool. But the one thing I want to talk about as well was the team selection as well. Like we brought in 2 centre backs in January, and we don't even start one of them. And you've got Henderson, who's arguably our most important midfielder at present, because Thiago's still working his way around the system, and obviously, so with Henderson is our most important like asset in the midfield. And the fact that you brought in Kabak, who is what seems to be a very competent centre back, and yet you don't even start him.
Very weird.
And you're forced to play 2 centre as a centre back.
I know. It's very, very, very strange. Robbie, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was just going to say that just surely, speak about balancing teams, having to play centre midfielders, holding midfielders in defence, it's really just disrupting the whole balance of the team, especially if you've got signed 2 centre-backs on deadline day. It just shows that either they haven't had enough time to bed in with the team or he doesn't trust them already. I don't know. Or maybe it was too big a game to introduce them. I don't know what Klopp's thinking would have been there.
So we'll get right into it. We were talking about it earlier on. Phil Foden broke into the scene a couple. I'll start with my thoughts on Phil Foden. A couple of seasons ago, he broke into the scene. Very early on, I think he was still a teenager at this point, and straight away you could see there was raw talent there. I think the likes of Jadon Sancho had said that. David Silva's mentioned it in comments. Just Aguero, everybody. Pep Guardiola rated him so highly. What annoyed me before was why rate a player so highly but not give him game time? And it was actually bugging me last season, especially. Phil Foden didn't get enough game time, and I thought this is the perfect season for a player of his stature and of his skill to either be made or broken. It was a make or break season, and luckily enough it didn't break him because he did get enough game time, but enough game time to maybe make an impact, but I don't think he had enough game time to improve himself. This year, totally different. Pep's got a whole different system now with the players that he's brought in, with injuries and stuff, and Foden's thriving underneath it. So I think this Liverpool game has been what has made Phil Foden go from a decent player to a player with unreal potential. It's kind of stepped him up a bit on people's expectations of him for games to come now because of what he's delivered. We can see what he's delivered now, but with his dribbling, we'll start off with his dribbling. You seen, as you said earlier on, set up that goal, and then you've got the goal that he scored at the fourth goal. Did you see how fast his feet were for that fourth goal? Snapping the ball away for the defender and then snapping it, boom. There was no fanning about with the ball. It was a snap, boom. It was clinical and precise. It's exactly what you need to be if you're going to be a top footballer.
Yeah. I'll move on to Foden then. Like, I was on the same mindset as you, Blair, really. Like, Pep rated him so highly, but he was like, well, why don't you play him then? And then what I thought, like, 2 seasons ago, like, if Foden wants to prove himself, he's going to have to do like a Sancho and like move to Germany or something like that. Like, I heard rumours that he was linked with Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich at one stage as well.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And I was like, yeah, he needs to go. Because he's not getting enough game time. But obviously now he's like he seems almost undroppable at Man City. Like, obviously, I won't be the biggest fan of him because of what he done to us at the weekend. But I always like these kind of players, like the kind of like the homegrown kind of players, where like it doesn't cost you a dime, and you're like, it's always nice to see the local lads like become like the stars of the teams, if you know what I mean. Like, you talk about like Phil Foden, for example, at Man City, got like Rashford at Man United, and even for Liverpool, like Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Liverpool.
The best example of it though is up in Spain with La Masia, obviously with like Messi. Like he wasn't a local lad, but like he came through the. It's always nice to see like a player come through the youth academy and become like one of the greatest players. I'm not saying Phil Foden will become Man City's like greatest ever player, but he's definitely got potential, and that's saying a lot when you're up against the likes of Aguero, De Bruyne, David Silva, and it's obvious. It just the way he's got everything in his game, right? I don't even know what his best position is, whether it's like a winger or like a direct number 10. But
I would say number 10 personally.
The best thing about him is like I can't see a weakness in his game. Like he's got a killer ball on him. Like I think it was against who were they playing? Cheltenham in the cup, right? When they were 1-0 down, he played like a defence splitting pass. I know it's Cheltenham and all, but that pass was sublime, right?
Still a professional football team.
You still need to turn up in that, and he is a fantastic footballer. And honestly, like he will. I think he's a local. Like I said, he's a local lad. So I don't expect him to be angling for a move anytime soon, because I think any manager that comes in after Pep will want Phil Foden in the team. So I feel like he's going to be at Man City for the long haul, and he can only get better as time goes on. And to make Anfield your back garden, and to get Man City their first win at Anfield in God knows how many years, it's mightily impressive.
Yeah. Before we move on to your thoughts on Liverpool, Man City for the title this season.
Oh, easily.
Look.
Yeah, I think they look strong favourites now, points wise, and the sort of form that they're getting in. There's not really any other team, is there, that's getting the form that they'd like. Man United have obviously fallen off the pace in recent weeks. That one against Everton was just really disappointing. We'll maybe talk about that, but I think it's not just one result, it's 2 points dropped. It's not the end of the world, but again, it just shows that we've just not. I think Man United have a potentially elite, a title winning attack, but defence is just nowhere near. And I think City with, is it Ruben Diaz they got in from
Benfica 50, 60 million.
Yeah, he's looked solid. They've done some good business with him, and overall they look.
He's already getting comparisons to Van Dijk, so honestly,
if he's getting comparisons to Van Dijk at this stage, then he must.
Apparently, in his first 25 games, he's got better stats than Van Dijk than his first 25 games with Liverpool. So he's probably even better than Van Dijk. Liam.
Talking on like Ruben Diaz, right? Obviously, I'm not discounting Ruben Diaz. He's a fantastic centre half, but man's like the team that Van Dijk had to change compared to what Ruben Diaz came into. It is like chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
Van Dijk had to come into defence with like a very, very inexperienced Trent Alexander-Arnold, an inexperienced top quality left back in Andy Robertson, and at the time his main partner was Dejan Lovren. So Van Dijk, as soon as he came in, he knew the job he had in his hands. Ruben Diaz already had quality around him, like the likes of Laporte. Like you could probably even say the likes of Kyle Walker. Like he is a decent attacking fullback. We can talk all day about his defensive work, but I'm not discounting Diaz. He's a fantastic centre half and one of the best this season. But you can't compare both of them when you see what Van Dijk had to do compared to what Ruben Diaz has had to do.
Yeah. So where do Liverpool go from here?
Well,
as a journalist actually pointed out to Klopp in the interview, do you think it is a top 4 chase now?
I mean, we're not fighting for the title anymore. We're I think 10 points, 13 points off, and City have also got a game in hand on us. Like,
yeah,
it's very much like Celtic and Rangers right now.
Yeah.
Like the differences are massive in Liverpool. I feel like now, I think a lot of the players have conceded that we're not winning the league this year. Just everything's just not going our way this season. You just get those seasons sometimes where you get poor form, injuries, inconsistency just throughout. Usually it's spread out like maybe you'll have injuries this season and you'll have like inconsistency the next season. But Liverpool have had it all in one, and it's just not gone our way this season.
Good to get it out of the way and we can win the league next season now.
And we have to go again next year. I mean, and the main thing I have to talk about is we need to invest, because there's going to be a lot of, I wouldn't say there'll be a lot of departures, but there could, obviously Wijnaldum's going to be gone, so we're going to need a replacement for him. Jamie Carragher said it perfectly. We need, if Kabak doesn't cut it, we need a centre back. We need a replacement for Wijnaldum.
You need a centre back, surely.
We need a replacement for Wijnaldum, and we need a forward, not one that will sit on the bench and will come on and make a difference. We need one who's like
Mbappe.
Right, you'll laugh, right? But Mbappe is the kind of player Liverpool need to go for if they want to be competing again. Because Mbappe...
Yes, you won't sell him.
He's a player everyone needs.
Real Madrid's the only place I'll see him go.
Problem is, like, Liverpool, obviously every club will be hit financially, but Liverpool are like one of the only clubs in the world right now that could potentially afford Mbappe, because Real Madrid are in mountains and mountains of debt. They're looking to offload a lot of their key players just so they can get them off the wage bill. Same with Barcelona.
Do you think you could afford him? Because that's not the player, that's not the sort of transfer you have ever really gone for.
I think we all know if we're going to bring in Mbappe, then one of the front three will leave. Like it won't just be like he'll be adding to it, he'll be replacing. And if anything, I think it would be probably for Mane, because Salah, I know people like to tarnish Salah's legacy like all the time, and it annoys me so much because Salah is Liverpool's best player. Even when everyone's fit, I still think Salah is the best player at Liverpool. And if we were to bring in Mbappe, like, it would just add so much more to the attack. I rate Mane, right? But you see right now, Mane, I just feel like he's invulnerable to like abuse right now. Whereas Salah's getting all the abuse and Salah's getting all our goals. Like, he's the only one that's actually turning up right now based on all the players. And Mane is like been invisible for about, like, I think since like October, November time now. And he seems to be invulnerable to the abuse. And now, I'm not saying players deserve abuse, but every player needs to be fairly criticised. And it feels like Salah's been more criticised when he doesn't deserve it, and Mane's getting less criticised when he deserves it more.
I think he is as a neutral out of anyone at Liverpool. I think, well, at least your front three, I think Mane is the best. It's tight between him and Salah. But I think if we're talking about like raising funds for an Mbappe, it would definitely need to be Mane, because I don't think, as much of an impact he does potentially make, Firmino, I still don't think you're going to get huge money for him in the form he's in.
He's scored enough goals.
Yeah, you're not going to get, say, 100 million for Firmino, whereas someone like Mane, you might. I think Salah you could sell for a lot. I don't know who wants a goal scoring winger. I mean, maybe everyone wants a goal scoring winger, but it's just who can afford these players at the moment.
What about Divock Origi and Minamino? You could maybe get rid of some injured players.
I tell you what, the way Liverpool work with transfers, we could probably get about 40 million for Divock Origi. I would genuinely wouldn't surprise me if we sold him for that. Minamino,
much was Kevin Stewart? Was Kevin Stewart no 15 million?
15 million. I think the most surprising one is the fact that we got like 20-25 million for Dominic Solanke.
I remember that, yeah.
25 million for Brewster as well.
And had he scored a senior goal?
No, like in the Premier League, no.
Right.
Unbelievable.
We'll go back to our own country, even though as the UK, that is England. I think everybody's accepted that the league's over. Rangers have flourished in the SPFL this season. What's your thoughts on? Well, what I'll say is, what's your thoughts on the recent Rangers form? First of all, before I go on to the next topic, Robbie, we'll start with you, seeing as you're an
I was watching Rangers last game on Sunday against Hamilton, and you could see it was great how Hamilton had a goal, obviously fighting for their lives at the bottom of the table, and Rangers champions-elect, we've all agreed. They wasn't at their best at all, and goalkeeper, probably still the best goalkeeper in Scotland, even at 38 or 39 years old. Alan McGregor played a blinder. Steven Gerrard loves to speak his praises, and quite rightly so. Made some brilliant saves, and was very unlucky with the very late on equaliser from Ross Callaghan for Hamilton, as it went under his legs, and you could see how frustrated he was in his interview. And that could be a vital point for Hamilton. And the way their game plan went against Rangers is what a lot more teams maybe need to show, is belief. And as Big Bad Brian Rice said, just have a go at them. And I don't know who Rangers are playing next, but if whoever they're playing can take spirit from Hamilton, I'm not saying Celtic are going to catch them if they win tonight, but you just never know that the gap could be reduced and they could drop more points. What do you guys think?
Well, look at the score tonight. Celtic 4, St Mirren 0. It seems like the tide is starting to turn a bit. It's whether the tide can turn that much.
It's too late.
Very unlikely. We always knew there was going to be a turn in the tide. It was dependent on when that was going to happen, and it's happened far too late for anything to happen. I think Ryan Christie came out in his interview yesterday and he said, "Look, no, sorry, not Ryan Christie. It was Callum McGregor came out in his interview yesterday and he said, look, we've won 12 trophies in a row. You can obviously expect us to win 10, win another quadruple treble, but come on, it's a push." He says, I think we just need to look at what we've won already and we need to take that into next season and we just go again. So they've already accepted the league's over. It's whether they can close the gap as much as possible on Rangers and see what they can do. I think this season now is for Celtic to find out where they actually are, and what needs to be changed other than anything. What needs to be, because you've got the new owner coming in, you've got Peter Lowell leaving, you've got a whole club change, and it's going to be a whole different season next year. So what I feel is Rangers just really need to keep it simple and get back to the way they have been. It's hard to keep that form going all season. You can't go unbeaten all season, but to turn up against Hamilton like that and get dominated, Rangers fans weren't happy with it. Alan McGregor wasn't happy with it at the end. You seen it. You can't be letting that happen. No chance.
It just really shocked me because it's not a performance that we've seen. I've watched Rangers a lot this season and I've thought they've really, they have won games 1-0, etc., but usually they still dominate the play. And I feel like, I'm not sure if Steven Gerrard was taking it easy with his team selection, but they looked a lot better once some more experienced players were substituted on. So maybe he'll learn his lesson. And I'm not saying he was taking it easy, but I think they need to play their strongest side and just look to pick up maximum points. Even though they are still 24 wins this season, it's very impressive out of 28 games.
Yeah, 100%. Did you see Kemal Roof's tackle on Murray Davidson?
He got a 2-match ban, didn't he? Yeah.
That's what I was just about to say. Today he was at a tribunal hearing and he was given a 2-match ban. As I said in the last week's podcast, that's not a 2-match ban, that's about a 6-match ban with that tackle. Horror tackle, over the ball, missed the ball. Shocking. What's your thoughts on a 2-match ban for that? Look.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see the tackle, boys. One of you should
Have you not seen it?
No, this isn't the Morelos one, is it?
No.
No,
that's an even worse one, Morelos. Robbie, you've seen
Morelos, geez,
Yeah, I've seen it from Kemar Roof, and yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to have a go at the SFA, but the fact that it's only a 2-match ban for that, it could have easily caused a lot of damage to Murray Davidson, and especially the still I seen of that tackle. It's so nasty. There's no intent in it at all from Roof, and it's probably not the first time. I've seen it in Morelos, but probably a lot of these players are getting away with challenges that's going unnoticed. They're not punished for as much as it should be. So it's definitely got to be, I use this word so much with Scottish football, but we need consistency.
Yeah.
I think that's what.
Well, you've seen it in England as well. I think all over the world, it's just refereeing's going through a tough phase right now. I honestly don't know what's happening, but some of the decisions are abysmal, and it needs to stop because it's ruining the game. Robbie, we all know you're an Aberdeen fan.
Yeah.
Saturday it just wasn't for you again. What I'm going to ask, I'm going to say 2 words, right? I'm going to say 2 words to you, and I'm going to need you to go on a rant for me, please. McInnes out.
Well, I'd agree with that words, but obviously the results have not been great at all, and we was all, majority of Aberdeen fans were calling for his head after that defeat to Hibs because just lacked in any intent from the kick-off. Hibs looked fitter, hungrier, and more likely to score, and it was the exact same on midweek against Livingston. And now that Dave Coymack has settled the rumours, the chairman, that...
Did you see, what I was going to mention was the letter that he released to the fans after the game. I mean, come on, there's something not right about that. That's giving me Peter Lawwell and Lennon vibes, if you know what I mean.
It does, but I think before Alex Miller, Jimmy Calderwood and Mike McGee were sacked, only days or a few weeks later, they all got a vote of confidence letter similar. So even though many say, McInnes' job's saved until the end of the season, I personally feel with the days of fan pressure, and he's done very well for Aberdeen, I must include that, in terms of where they used to be. I acknowledge that, but in going by recent form, football's a business and you need to get results. They've not been doing that. So if they don't win against St Mirren on Saturday, they've also got 2 games double-header against Celtic coming up. Celtic are hitting form, whereas Aberdeen getting these points. Hibs have got an easier run of fixtures till the end of the season. I know you can't rule out any team in the SPL because teams are fighting for their lives, but I honestly think McInnes will be lucky to see out the season.
Yeah.
If they don't, maybe this latter, maybe all this pressure. We heard, I think, Bruyne McLaughlin ask him after the game on Saturday about his future. He didn't seem happy at all. So maybe all this might give the players a kick up the arse and the manager that they need. But I personally can't see it. And it's a shame it's got to end like this, but it does seem like the end of a marriage of Derek McInnes at Aberdeen.
Yeah, just a wee bit of breaking news here. Liverpool, did you hear about Harvey Elliott's compensation claim, Liam?
Yeah.
Liverpool have been ordered to pay Fulham a record compensation fee for a 16-year-old.
£4 million.
After signing him, and how much is it?
£4 million with a 20% sell-on clause.
For a 60.
Well, to be fair, if you've seen him play for Blackburn this season, like, geez, he is one for the future.
For a 16-year-old, but $4 million.
Younger than me.
Crazy money.
Jeez, oh man.
At this rate, they'll not be buying Mbappe. But back on to, as you were saying about Aberdeen, just doesn't look good. It's some of the stuff that's happening at your club. It's giving me Celtic vibes. I'm sorry, but it just does. With the whole McInnes out, the bed sheets outside Pittodrie.
You've seen that as well on Twitter and all that. I was one yesterday saying
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, they've had it wasn't me. Nah.
You sure?
I don't know who that was.
I'll not reveal you.
People like that are tarnishing the club. I don't think folks should go to that extent if you want to make your point clear. But I feel it as a football fan. I'm fortunate to still get to games, but a lot of people are turning to social media or silly things like bed sheets, because if there was fans in stadiums, I've got a gut feeling that Derek McInnes wouldn't still be in the job right now.
Same as Neil Lennon, exact same as Neil Lennon. Because
they'd be driven up, their fans the attendances would be down, or they'd be getting booed off with these performances completely. And the Aberdeen fans, I'll admit myself, can be very fickle and turn on the team, just like Celtic can as well, very quickly if things aren't going well. So
don't get me wrong. Aberdeen Hibs has always been a close game. We both know that. It's always been a bit of a rivalry, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Going back to the 80s, Aberdeen Hibs on and off the pitch have had a bit of a rivalry.
Exactly, but to go to Easter Road and get beat 2-0, it's...
I think on that result isolated on its own, Aberdeen have beat Hibs twice this season already. So taking that result in context,
it shows you how much you have kind of collapsed. But if you know what I mean,
losing one game against Hibs wouldn't have been so bad if the rest of the results had been quite consistent. Losing 2-0 Easter Road, yeah, it's annoying, but I wouldn't have lose sleep over it.
Yeah, Hibs are looking good this season.
But 1 win in 8. It's just not acceptable for a club like Aberdeen, who got a clear... I said at the start of the season, Aberdeen's got the best squad they've had under McInnes on paper in terms of squad depth and players, but injuries hasn't helped them, and playing players completely out of position hasn't helped them. I don't know why, but it just seems to be a lack of ideas. And that goes with the word staleness I'd use for Aberdeen. I'd probably conclude by saying just stale under Derek McInnes.
Yeah, just a quick one. I don't know if you've seen the statement that was put out a couple of days ago. The SFA have made a ruling that they're not able to give a date for the return of low leagues, even though Leagues 1 and 2 in Scotland would be given the same rulings and protocols as the Championship. Robbie, do you think that really makes sense to have Leagues 1 and 2? I know we spoke about it. Do you think it really makes much sense to have League 1 and 2 not playing and the Championship playing?
Nah, absolutely not. I just think it's ludicrous, and
it's bizarre.
Obviously, I'll have to include women's football in this as well, because I report women's football.
Exactly.
It just doesn't seem fair. Well, I was on talking women's football. I was happy that a record amount of women's players from the Scottish League were called into the women's national squad, but despite this, there's no football looking likely for at least another month, 3 weeks. And I just don't understand. The money's there. The clubs are willing to be testing, the same as the Championship, same as the top flight clubs. But I think is this time the Scottish Government have said that they can't, in line with government restrictions.
It's the SFA have said that. It's not even the government, it's the SFA.
It just seems like...
Doesn't fit right with me.
It doesn't sit right
just show that money is everything. Because obviously it's the leagues that are making the most money. But like it should surely be a matter of safety if it's to do with coronavirus.
I'm sorry, I keep touching my hair. I need a haircut, man. It's doing my nothing. I absolutely hate it. Oh, it's pure giving me the feeling now with my long hair. Don't like it.
Yeah, always footballers are getting a haircut.
I know.
I wonder why.
Mate, look at me. I'm the worst for it. Like I wake up with my hair like this all the time.
Oh Jesus, man! I don't even want to show you how long mine is. Right. Enough of Scottish football.
And enough about hair.
Not really enough of Scottish football. Liam, you had enough time in your English football. Games of the week, boys. Have we got them?
Yep. Got mine.
Right. We'll start with you, Liam, seeing as you're so confident and so happy to do it. Let's go.
Usually I wouldn't go with my team, but this game is very crucial in the context for both teams. Liverpool versus Leicester on Saturday afternoon. Liverpool obviously need to get a win. They need to focus on staying in that top 4. And what better to do it than one of your top 4 rivals? Obviously, I think Leicester have just went through in the FA Cup just there. Obviously, good achievement for them getting to the quarterfinals. Liverpool just simply need to win. Nothing else but a win will do. We need to widen the gap with West Ham and Everton, and we just need to focus on getting like 3rd or 2nd. Really, first is off the table. Like first off the table for everyone at this stage. But for Liverpool's sake, we just need to get that win just nailed in. Get a good run going. Like we had a good wee run with Spurs and West Ham, and then we went back to square one with Brighton and now Man City. But if we get this win against Leicester, it can be a potential turning point. I see this. I tell you what, for a long time, I'm not confident, but I'd never predict my team to lose. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw.
I think so. Who's scoring? And definitely, I would go with Jamie Vardy.
Vardy's still injured for Leicester. He's still got his hernia.
Is he not back yet?
No, he's not back yet.
I thought he was back.
I'd probably go with who's the Belgian midfielder again? Tielemans. He's a good player. Tielemans. One of my favourite players in Football Manager, so he is as well.
Minky used to play with Anderlecht.
Yeah. And
He was ripping Europe up when he was playing with Anderlecht. And it surprises me that he's been able to come into Leicester. I think everybody rated him highly, but you see a lot of players rated so highly in Europe and they play so well and they come into the Premier League and they just crumble. So he's actually surprised me for one.
He was only highly rated because like I said, because everyone knew him from FIFA and Football Manager. Like no, you could not tell me that anyone here watched him in the Belgian leagues.
See in Europe, he played terrifically in Europe. I think he had he scored a peach against Bayern, I'm sure, a good couple of years ago, about 4 or 5 years. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago against Bayern in the Champions League. That's what made me notice him. But I know what you mean by FIFA. So you go my 1-1 draw then, yeah?
Yeah, and for Liverpool's goal scorer, I'm going to go with Salah because no one else seems like scoring at the moment.
And that'll be a penalty, obviously.
Oh, shut up.
Look, we'll go with you. What's your game of the week?
Man City Tottenham for me. Guardiola versus Mourinho. So Tottenham lost. I think the game's finished against Everton tonight. They lost 5-4.
What a game, by the way! Extra time and everything.
Yeah, I've not been able to see it, so I'll need.
Apparently, it was like a Sunday League game with the goals. Well, it is 5-4.
But yeah, it's not the scoreline you expect from Mourinho. So I think you'll definitely be expecting a reaction from his players at City. But City, yes, City are just flying. So I mean, if they can concede 5 against Everton, then who knows what's going to happen against City? I'm not going to be bold and predict a 9-goal game though. I think it'll be tight. I think City will edge it. Maybe I'm going to say 2-1.
I actually want Man City to win that game, because because I said top 4's our aim now.
Yeah, I love it.
You just want Kane and Son not to be on form, because when them two get on form, we've seen it this season. And we've seen it in the Liverpool game. Sorry, like 2 seconds. We've seen it in the Liverpool game. You were so close to giving away the goal. I think it was like an arm or an inch from Son, and it was a wonderful through ball from Kane into Son, and he put Tottenham ahead, and then it got chopped off. So it shows you they can do it against everybody in MD. It doesn't need to be the small teams. You can even do it against Liverpool. And if they are on form, they will do it against Man City as well.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know who scored the goals for Spurs tonight. Whoever it is, they'll take some encouragement that they managed to score 4 goals. But you're very right. Like, start of the season, we were seeing the best of Spurs, and we're finally seeing is this Mourinho as well back to his best. And now they just seem to have lost their spark again. But yeah, as you say, Son and Kane on their day, if they can play well consistently, then they're a threat against all the top teams in the league. So it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yep. Robbie, you can do the last of. Well, in fact, I'll need to do mine, won't I? What's your game of the week for this weekend?
I was going to be cheeky and go with my team Aberdeen, but I've actually got a good game that I think will be a brilliant one to watch for the neutral. Napoli versus Juventus in the Serie A.
I was going to go over that. I can't believe you. Away you go. Away you go.
Napoli with
Napoli
on
what a game that's going to
37
be.
points with a game in hand, and they could get themselves into a European spot place, and Juventus in third. Obviously, AC Milan in Serie A are kind of running away with it, with Inter just behind, which it's been a surprise because AC and Inter haven't dominated Italian football the way that they used to. But I think Juventus, obviously, with star-studded players such as Ronaldo, I think that one will be a good one for the neutral.
Yeah. I need to look for one now. Thank you for
Sorry for taking you.
Try to look.
Who's the mighty Thistle got this weekend?
Nobody. The season's still suspended.
I'm joking.
The season's still suspended. I'm going to go with Brentford v Barnsley because we all know the form that Brentford are in, and Barnsley have obviously recruited quite a few. They've got rid of some dead wood. They get rid of Liam Lindsay that used to play with Thistle. You remember him, Robbie? Liam Lindsay, the centre back. He actually went and I think he signed for Luton. So he's left. He was playing with Stoke actually. I'm getting all mixed up here. But he used to play with Barnsley. So there was talk of him going back to Barnsley. He didn't. And then they ended up getting in new centre backs. They've got in quite a few players. So Brentford They're sitting 2 points ahead of Norwich. They're in first place in the Championship, and it's going to be a close one because Swansea are sitting 53 points, Watford on 48, Norwich 55, and then Brentford on 57. So the Championship's going to be a tight one again, and this is a Sunday at 1 o'clock. In Brentford, it's going to be a tough game because Barnsley are a very defensive-minded team, and they're not doing too bad this season. They're sitting in 13th, sitting on 36 points, so they're only 10 points off third. So I think that'll be an excellent game anyway. But we're going to round that off. I will go with a 3-1 Brentford win, and we'll stay top.
Can we throw out a
top of the
special mention
Championship.
for a game quickly? I'm not sure if this weekend, sorry for interrupting you, but the Club World Cup final, Bayern Munich versus Tigres.
Oh. Good thinking, Liam.
Good shout, Liam.
We got to wrap this up.
Yeah. That will be a terrific game. What will we go, boys? We'll all do Club World Cup predictions.
4-0 Bayern Munich.
Think so.
Aye.
Look,
3-0 Bayern Munich.
Robert.
2-1 Bayern Munich.
6-0 Tigres. Right?
You just never know.
That's all from us today. Please do us a big, massive favour. Drop a subscription down below. The more subscriptions we get, the better content we can bring you guys. Literally takes 2 seconds to click that button. We're trying to get to 150 by the end of the month, so help us out. Please leave a like, comment down below what your game of the week is this weekend if your team are playing. And until then, it's a goodbye from me.
See ya.
Cheers, guys.
See you. Thank you very much.